Welcome back. Today I've got another sweet deck to look at. This deck I've seen on several videos from a few different content producers, one of them being Jeff Hoogland, and this deck is Bant Lizard Flash. Now, it was right here at the top. Must have teleported down to the bottom. Um, Bant Lizard Flash, or as I like to call Bant Delver, basically is an aggro control deck and is I've had trouble finding a deck that I really like in standard. I've played a lot of modern, used to play legacy, but not very much. And previously in standard, my first favorite deck was mono blue tempo, but then I just kind of got bored of that because it was single color, just seemed kind of mindless, and so I started playing blue black pirates, which was similar idea. Um, Basically, play aggressively, attack your opponent's life total, while also disrupting them. And so that's kind of what this archetype that this Bant Lizard Flash, as some people have called it, Bant Flash, I guess you could call it, falls into. So the term is aggro control or tempo. They're somewhat synonymous. They're not exactly the same, but basically the idea is an aggro deck wants to attack your opponent quickly. Control deck wants to control them and keep them in place. So an aggro control deck tries to do two of them at the same time. And the goal is to get a clock down, get a creature, and start attacking their life total, and then counter everything that they play. So an example of a card that fits into the tempo role is Frilled Mystic, which is one of my favorite cards in the set. It's a 4-cost 3/2 with flash, which is fine. It's not good, it's fine. But when it enters, you can counter something. So on turn 4, you pass the turn. They cast something. You counter it, and now you have a 3/2. So when you untap, okay, so you counter their spells, that's 1/1, but you still have a 3/2, and from then on, that 3/2 can start attacking. And then you've got other spells like Absorb. So let me look through the deck very quickly. Um, this, because it is Bant, it has a little higher curve. I'm going to look at Teamer Tempo, which is another iteration, which is a little bit more low to the ground, but this goes all the way up to 6 mana. But everything here, with the exception of a few cards, can be played at instant speed. And the exception to that is this guy. He's a new addition. But so 4 ops basically gives us something to do turn 1, filter to draws. It's not a huge play. Basically thins out the deck, so we want to get to our important cards because we only play 10 creatures. And this is why I love this type of deck, because you have these creatures, which are powerful. I mean, all of these are incredibly powerful. Actually, we play 14, but this is a recent addition. But yeah, so all 14 of these creatures are very powerful, but they're backed up by very powerful spells, and we'll talk about that. So um, we can talk about the creatures now, I guess. Growth Chamber Guardian is a 2/2 for 2, which is a bear. You can pay 3 mana and adapt him. So it basically means a 4/4 this guy can become. And that's big, because that's a 5-turn clock. You play him, and he can win the game on his own. But not only that, but when you adapt, you get another one. So you play him, you adapt, and you can get another one. So that basically is your card advantage. You should drop one, and if you can get him to adapt without dying, you get another, and so on and so forth. So it's like a draw 3. Very expensive draw 3, but a draw 3 nonetheless. And a draw 3 of just creatures. So that's huge. Blink of an Eye, this is again just the filler card. This is the slot. I'm not sure what to do exactly, but Blink of an Eye basically just gives us some multi-purpose removal. We are Bant, so we don't have the burn from red or kill spells from black. Quench. Okay, Quench is a really cool card, and Quench is a great card to have in the format. So Mana Leak was a card in older formats and was the same thing, except it countered unless they paid 3. And the thing about Mana Leak was that allowed it to be played in control decks, which is not what you really want, because then control decks can counter things just as well as aggro decks. Quench being a little bit weaker is fine, because if control decks play it, they get to the late game and the Quench is just not as good. So control decks can play it, but it works so much better in a more aggressive deck like this. So normally, at 2 mana, you're either going to counter a creature or counter a non-creature. Negate or Essence Scatter are the two classics. But this, you sacrifice the long-term inevitability, but you can counter anything. So passing with on turn 2 with 2 lands up is an amazing thing to be able to do. Growth Spiral, maybe one of the best cards in the deck. 2 mana On turn 2, you can do it at instant speed. You get to ramp from 2 lands to 3. So on turn 3, you have 4, and you can drop Frilled Mystic. Really good card. Absorb. It's just nice to have a 3-mana counter in there. This game will go later sometimes, so having a 3-mana counter is great. And gaining life is relevant against red. Frilled Mystic, we already talked about that. Settle the Wreckage. So this whole package of these, what is this, 10 cards. On turn 4, basically this allows you to pass turn 4 with untapped mana every single time. The fact that everything is flashed except for these allows you to always have your mana untapped on their turn. On your turn, rather. Oh, forgive me. It's hard being awake. Settle the Wreckage is great just because it allows you to deal with very aggressive creatures. But the fact that you also are casting other things that flash means that they might walk into the Settle. And if they only attack with one creature, boom, you just Chemist's Insight. Chemist's Insight is a great card in this deck as well. Draw 2. Draw 4, technically. Angel of Grace. It's a 5-mana 5/4 flash flying. How good is that? The other abilities are fine. Basically, if you die, you can flash an Angel and it'll save you. It'll bring you to 1 life. Not after you're dead, but before it happens. But yeah, 5/4 flyer is fine. But being able to play it at the end of their turn and start attacking right away is great. And then Dream Eater, 6-mana 4/3 flash flying. Again, it's a flash flyer, which is solid. Being able to surveil 4, put those extra darn lands into the graveyard, and then bounce anything is really solid. And then 24 lands. Previously, I was playing Teferi, and actually Teferi seemed really strong. But I want to try a little bit lower to the ground version, and we'll see what happens. So we're going to jump into some games. I have played this best of 2, but I'm just going to do some best of 1s because that's a little bit more fun. So that's what we're going to do right now. All right, here we go. Against Gigs. What that name is. All right, so this is really cool. So we're on the draw, which is not the greatest, but we're going to be able to catch up with Growth Spiral. So we're going to keep this. We'll have Tap Temple Garden, and then one of these 2 lands will come in untapped. It's turn 2. Okay, against a black deck. Seems good. So yeah, so turn 2, we can pass the turn with either one of these up. And if they don't play something that we want to counter, okay, so there's Golgari, then we will Growth Spiral. Interesting. Okay, I haven't played against, wow, alright. I haven't played against the Undergrowth version of Golgari in a while. So I don't think I want to counter that. I think we're just going to let it resolve. If there was that's the type of thing we want to counter. Another good thing is the fact that everything is at instant speed means that it doesn't always give them a read that you've got a counterspell. So now if we do need to draw a land here. We do, like a boss. Sure. Yeah. So this is the type of place where Frilled Mystic is really good. So it's their turn 3. So I don't have double white up. That is unfortunate. And we're just going to draw 2 cards. They're stuck on lands. Good stuff. We are down to 9, which is relevant. We're going to pass again. I think we're just going to ambush. This guy. Just gotta stop the bleeding. Okay. That was unfortunate, but it happened. Man, we were just having trouble drawing. So I should have done that on their turn, but it is what it is. So ideally here they cast someone before they attack, but they may not. I don't really want to give them... Okay, we're down to 3, which is not the best. Come on. Okay, yes, this is why we didn't. So we're not doing great. We are at 3 life. Opt. Dream Eater seems good. Okay, so we also have that. So I think we're just going to pass the turn. Oh, of course we're going to pass the turn. Everything we have here can be played at instant speed. If I use my settle, I want to let it be later in the game. Okay, so we're going to quench here. And then we can use our Chemister's Insight. And we'll just trade, because that's a fair trade. Or do we want to trade? We do have a creatures. Yep. Because then we're just going to counter whatever they play next turn. And we're Chemister's Insight. So this is the type of, this is where we want to be right now. We're going to opt. We want to get to our angels. No, we've got enough interaction. Oh, well, we drew it anyways. Great. Okay, where is that? Did I put it? Did I leave it on top? No, it's on the bottom. Interesting. Okay, so we have 6 mana. So basically, yeah, I'm going to play the land. Basically, whatever they play, I'm going to absorb. Let's see. When he enters the battlefield, return a land to the battlefield. Shoot. That's fine. Okay, we're just gonna... Okay, 100% we're playing Dream Eater here, and we have another Absorb, so... Actually, we've got the Blink of an Eye, so I think we're just... Yeah, we're gonna shock this in, because screw it, why not? We're at 4 life. Good. Yep. And I think we're just going to flash in the Dream Eater at end of turn for no value. Other than scrying 4, which I've heard is pretty good. And them being stuck on lands is good. I'm glad I did not use the Settle the Wreckage earlier. So we're not going to get to bounce anything, but it's okay. We are going to scry. Oh, there's our Angel. Good stuff. I'm going to actually pull the Mystic to the top, because we don't have any counterspells currently. Good stuff. Okay. And now we should be in the driver's seat. This is what you want to do with a tempo deck. So we've got counterspells, but we've also got something... Yep, right here. Boom. This is not really fair. Not really fair. Now we're dealing 7 a turn. Oh. So, one thing I might do here... Let me just look at Blink of an Eye. If they play something that I need to counter, I'm just going to bounce my Frilled Mystic and then replay it. So, that's not a problem. He's going to get big, but then I'm just going to bounce it with this. That should be GG. Good game. Alright, so, that game felt really good. It doesn't always go like that, but man, that felt great. So we'll do 2 more games, and hopefully you'll get to continue to see the power of this deck. That was really fun, and that's what Tempo tries to do. So we will continue on with 2 more games. All right, here we have a second game, and this hand is not good, I think. Having all of these are really powerful, but they're very much end game. Man, the mana is good though. Mulligan. I want to have early interaction. Well, that's not really early interaction, but we'll keep it. That is early interaction, but I want more counter spells. Oh, just gonna put that in. It is a 3-color deck, so sometimes we do have mana problems. Okay, now I wish I had kept that. Okay, that absorb is good, but got coffee. Nice. So this deck is weak to mono red. Do I take 2 to gain 2? I think so. Yep. That's fine. Okay. I think we're just going to pass the turn. Yes. Or I should say, no. So that actually gains us a life from taking 2 on the breeding pool, so it's not the most relevant, but I think we're gonna lose here. Yeah. Missing lands is not what I wanted to do, but it is what it is. If we can draw a land right here, then I'm sure we'll have a shot. That's relevant. I can't take 2 off of that Hallowed Fountain. Sure. We'll just put a blocker. We can't actually even play our Frilled Mystic next turn, so... Because we only have 1 green. Yeah, we're super dead. Red's just ridiculously good. Yep. Yep. Good game. Alright, we'll do a third. A third game. So here we are with game 3. So just from the previous game, red is just so powerful in the current meta. It got even more tools with the release of Allegiance. This isn't a great hand, but I'm going to keep it because I've got play on 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So hopefully I'll draw more lands. Okay, that's not exactly what we want to see, but it'll be fine. They'll probably have Thought Erasure since they are a Dimir deck. No, and we also did not draw land, so that's also quite relevant. It seems to happen a lot. Play 24 lands. I think I went up to 25 at one point, but I miss on it. I'm going to shock this in just for the heck of it, because reasons. We're against a control deck. They're not really threatening our life total much. Yeah, so we're just going to be doing this number for a little while. I do have 8 cards in hand. That's unfortunate. So I'm going to have to discard... Frick. Well, I'll just discard the blink. It is frustrating when you play a lot of lands and you miss regularly. I am going to absorb it just because I don't know if I'm going to get another chance. That's fine. Wow, main board negates. Nice. So again, we just missed again. I'm just gonna drop this. He'll probably die, but it's okay. Just gotta do something. That's fine.
We need to move quickly.
Okay, so if he untaps his lands and holds up countered, then I'm going to just attack him. And I'll either Frilled Mystic or Chemisters. Yep. There we go. That play felt good. So they might have Ritual of Soot.
That was uncalled for.
But it'll only hit Growth Chamber. They might have Cleansing Nova, which is actually, now that I think about it, Esper Control has a lot of... Or they might have that new card, Kaya's Wrath. Okay, that's fine. That means they only have 2 mana up. Oh, they have 4 mana up, dang it.
I'm not done yet.
He's so powerful. I'm gonna try one more time.
Plan B, as soon as I think of one.
Okay, so I could have adapted there, but if I had adapted and they killed it, then I got nothing. So, thought erasure. Well, that's unfortunate. I think I just need to play my Angel here. Okay. So we're going to lose either Dream Eater or our counter. The fine thing is, if we lose either one of these, then we can adapt him and we'll refill our hand. We should be fine. Hopefully I'll take the Dream Eater, actually. Because we'll have 4 threats. Yep.
No time for a break.
Teferi's just ridiculously good. Draw land. Okay, well, that's why I didn't play that before. So, if we weren't missing on lands every turn, we would have been fine. Again, that's probably because I played 24. I could play 25. And him drawing all the removal spells in the world seems, wow, just a god hand. Yeah, I think we're dead. Teferi's drawn 4 cards. So I think we're going to say GG. Alright, I'll try one more. That was frustrating. Alright, we have another other hand, we've got all of our colors. I think I'm actually going to keep this because we got double white for settle. We've got a turn 2 play, turn 3 play, and hopefully we'll draw land for Frilled Mystic. Seems good. Oh my gosh. I don't understand why you would want to play mono red. It just seems so... It's just like a mindless deck. I used to play mono red, so I know. Not in this format, but... Well, that's the thing we can do. Ouch. Oh, they're stuck on a land. 100%. Serves you right for playing the... Mono red is basically just... I don't know if to say it's the best deck in the format, but it's just very good. So we're going to put this Hallowed Fountain in tapped, so you don't take any more damage, and we'll counter whatever he plays. And if he doesn't, then we will opt. Make sure we hit our 4th land. Nope. I'm actually going to play this. It's basically is just going to absorb a counter spell or a burn spell. So it's basically like gaining us 3 life. Of course, he draws the land. I just need lands right now. There we go. So next turn we should be in business. Come on. There ain't many choices with red. You just go to attackers, you attack, and you pass turn. That's basically how it works. Hopefully he'll play that 2/2 that gets bigger. Steamkin. That works too. Alright. Well, sometimes red is noob and you win because they just concede for no reason. So, that didn't really show the power of the deck, but that should be 4 games, I believe. Just get to see some of the strengths, some of the weaknesses. It does lose to fast aggro typically because it plays a higher curve. But man, if you can survive against some of those decks until like turn 4, man, just being able to play Angels and Frilled Mystics and just all of those cards all on their turn is just such a powerful effect. And it's just really fun because it's super interactive. Like controllers just sit back and do nothing and kill and counter everything, which is interactive. Aggro is just play stuff and turn it sideways. This is a little bit of both. You get to play creatures and attack, but you're also countering and killing stuff. So it's just the most fun I've had in Standard so far, even when I lose. So, yep, we'll say GG there and move on to the next deck.